Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. It is time. It is time. It is time. I am beyond excited for what we're gonna talk about today. Oh, hold on. There we go. I call myself Sharon. Okay, so you should be able to see me on YouTube for those of you that are going to be tuning in on YouTube. I appreciate you. Listen, today we're going to have a bit of lunch. Okay, so if you are on your lunch break, this is a good time for you to listen in. Hopefully, I am done by the time you must return to your job. Okay, I don't know how long your breaks are, but you know, in the army, I was used to be like 1 hour. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna get into it. I really hope that today has started out to be very well for y'all. Listen, we have seen a whole lot of stuff going on in our economy here in the United States, most definitely, and of course across across the globe. And I've said this before, but I feel like it may fall on some deaf ears, or maybe you weren't here before. I'm not sure. But the reason why this moment does feel a bit different is because the national debt is getting higher. Okay. Personal, family, individual debt is increasing. And we're talking about credit card debt is increasing. We are seeing inflation rising as of not last month, because it's July now. So as of May, I should have looked at the one for June. But as of May of 2026, we see that the inflation rate had gone up to 4.2%. We still have the trade and tariff policy going on. We're attempting to figure out what's up with that on today. And then we've had some issues, some things happen in Congress here in the United States that are impacting the way things move forward as far as bills getting approved and things of that nature. We just recently saw that on Saturday, one of the senators was Lindsey Graham. He passed away. You still have the other senator that is very well known. Some people like him, some people don't. That ain't my business. But he's been hospitalized for at least a month now. Like, there's a lot going on, and there's back and forth between, Democrats and the POTUS on crypto regulation, which leads me to crypto regulation. It's still evolving. You have AI workforce disruption, as you see on the screen, all of those job cuts that happened by the time of May of 2026. So the first half of 2026, that's what we saw occur. Now, their number may have gone up a bit since I went to do my research, but that's the last number that I received. And then this past weekend, we saw more strikes from the U.S., between the U.S. and Iran. So that whole peace talk is out the window. It's always something going on, y'all. Okay. But here's what I want you to know moving forward: that wealth isn't built by knowing everything. I say this a lot because that's what I thought. I thought before I got introduced to Warren Buffett, I genuinely thought that you needed to know more than the average bear. Okay. That's that yogi reference. But anyway, I genuinely thought that you needed to know more than the average person. And I'm talking about way more than the average person in order to see, 6 figures in your portfolio every year, 7 figures in your portfolio every year. We're talking about as an investor. That's not true. In me studying Warren Buffett, I personally have learned a lot. And I'm hoping that we as a group, the more that we share, the more that we communicate, the more that we research and study and be students, the better off we're going to be. And now, instead of it appearing that one person has to be the one sharing all the information, we can all share what we know with each other. So that way, every single one of us can elevate. Okay. So that wealth and knowing everything at that time is definitely not true. But I will say this: there is an order that we need to follow in order for us to get to where we want to go. Is Leona where she wants to be today? Absolutely not. Okay. However, looking at from the time that I retired in 2021, okay, from the Army, from that time to today, Leona as an investor, Leona as an entrepreneur, Leona as an individual, I see and I feel the growth. I see and I feel the progress. So, for those of you that are new here, this is your first time on YouTube, this is your first time on Zoom. Maybe someone invited you. I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. I would love it if you all could type in the chat on Zoom and also on YouTube. Type in the chat where you are watching me from. If you're at work and you can type, that's great. If you're not at work and you're at a restaurant or something like that and you're taking your lunch, go ahead, type in the chat real quick where you're tuning in from. Put your city, put your state, put your country if you are not in the United States. So my name is Leona Clark. I am a wife. As you can see, I'm a mom. I'm a veteran, 20-year retired Army veteran. I'm an entrepreneur. I have been full-time as an entrepreneur for the past 5 years now. Past 5 years now. So I am very grateful that I've been able to transition from being an employee and doing what everybody wants me to do and tell me to do. And if I don't do it, I'm going to get in trouble because I was in uniform, missing out on birthdays and anniversaries and weddings and baby showers and all kind of things, missing out on those things. To now I schedule the things that I want to schedule. So I'm grateful to God for that. And I pray, I hope that you are in the position very soon to be able to do that as well. And that is because we're going to take our time to get educated and apply the things that we are learning here today and any other day from whoever we're learning from. Okay. Now, quick disclaimer for my people who do not know. At this moment, I am not a licensed financial advisor. Okay. That time is coming, God willing, that I get my securities license, but right now I do not have it. So this is why I speak in general terms, because I can speak about what I've done, what I'm doing, things that have been shared with me, things of that nature. I can use that type of language, but I cannot tell you what to invest in nor when to invest in that thing because I do not have a securities license. Okay. So that means that this presentation is for educational purposes only. I strongly suggest, and that you continue to do your own research. Anything that I share today, tonight, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this, I want to make sure that you do your own research, okay? We don't know everything. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. We all are out here learning and applying and adjusting according to what we want to do, how we want to live in life. So I strongly suggest that you do your own research and also consult a licensed financial professional before you make any financial decisions and put your money into any market or create a plan and execute a plan when we're talking about long-term wealth. All right. Now, let's talk about what we don't control. I want to touch on this first because a lot of times our stress comes from the things that we can't control. We know we can't control it, but for whatever reason, we still let it drive us up the wall, child. We're still like, but da. No, we can't control the tariff decisions. We can't control what the Federal Reserve says about the interest rates. We can't control election outcomes, insider trading investigations, if they ever do that. We can't control when the Clarity Act passed. We can't control when the war ends. There are a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen, data buddies, whoever you may be, on this Zoom and on YouTube, there are a lot of things that we cannot control. Okay. And I will say this, that financial maturity comes when we start to narrow our battlefield and identify the things that we can control. So some of the many things that we can control are things like our I got it fund. Okay. I personally don't like the word emergency. It makes me feel negative. I don't want to feel negative or frustrated or or stressed out when I talk about money. I like feeling good when I talk about money. So the word emergency doesn't really do that for me. So that's why I personally call it my I got it fund. Okay. I have multiple high yield savings accounts, but for the person who's saying, you know what, I really need to figure this out, this is something that we can control as individuals. Okay. We can control the debt that we have and the debt that we are letting go of, our debt structure. Okay. We can control our skill development, the things that we are learning today, yesterday, the things that we want to learn tomorrow. We can control that. Okay. We can control our asset allocation. Which type of assets are we investing in? Rotating, rebalancing our portfolios, all of those things. We control our education level. We control the type of information that we consume and the frequency and an amount in a day, in a week, in a month of how we consume that. We can control this. This is where our power returns. I want people to get that. Because unfortunately, for some of us, we stay stuck on the things we can't control and we lose focus and forget about the things we can control. When we focus on the things we can control, now we can make better financial decisions. Okay. But what I want to do first is touch on 3 financial myths that keep people stuck. Now, this is Leona's opinion based on Leona's personal experience and also in communicating with hundreds and thousands of people in my lifetime. Okay. When we talk about money, false belief number 1 is one that I actually had coming growing up, and of course I hear this still to this day in 2026. False belief number 1 is you need a lot of money to start investing. I want to tell you something. You don't. You don't. It depends on what you're investing in. Think about it. In the stock market, you don't even, with the majority of these stock brokerages like Charles Schwab, Fidelity, etc., right? You don't even need the full amount of the share price to even start buying shares. You can buy something called fractional shares. So, hypothetical, let's say I'm thinking about, okay, VOO. I didn't see what the price is today, but let's just say VOO right now is at $620. Well, you're saying, I want to invest, I want to put my money into VOO. I want this to be like my savings account, like it was suggested by another financial educator on YouTube. But I don't have $620 to put into one stock. Well, guess what? You can buy fractional shares. So if you only have $200 today to buy into VOO, you could buy $200 and that will give you a fraction of that share, whatever that fraction is going to be. If you have 250, 300, whatever it is, you can do that with cryptocurrency as well. For the person that says, I want to invest in gold, but gold price is over $4,000 an ounce. I don't have $4,000 to buy an ounce. Guess what? You don't have to buy an ounce of gold. You can buy something called grams. That is much cheaper. It's smaller. It'll be easier to transport anyway. Okay. Than waiting to buy a kilo or a whole bunch of gold coins. All right. They're lightweight, and then they can cost somewhere between, I don't know what the price is right now. I should have looked, but the price could be somewhere between like $80 and $100 today. Whatever it is for a gram of gold today. This is where I would suggest that you go research it. How much is a gram of gold worth today? July, right? Like that's it. Okay? In the month of July, how much is a gram of gold worth today? Boom. Now you have your answer. And then the only thing you do, okay, when we talk about moving forward and not staying stuck on a belief system, now what we do is when we have the information, now let's make a plan and move forward. False belief number 2. Crypto or stocks, investing in crypto or stocks is going to fix your financial problems. I'm here to tell you, based on my own personal situation of the past and also in communicating with others, ladies and gentlemen, if you my battle buddy, battle, okay? that is not going to solve your problem, because if your financial foundation is weak, if it's cracked, if it is not solid, more than likely you are going to dip into those assets that you have invested in, and you're going to sell them either before you intended to sell them or sell them at a loss to cover expenses because your financial situation was not solid. Okay, so no, investing in crypto or stocks is not going to fix your financial problems if you don't have a strong financial foundation in the first place. False belief number 3: financial success requires perfect timing. I gotta say this: there's no such thing as perfect timing. There's no perfect time to get in. The best time to get in is when you decide that you want to get in and you have the money to put into the market. Even if that's $10, even if that's $20, whatever it may be, this is the best time for you to invest. I don't know how else to say it. I'm sitting here racking my brain like, what's another way, that I can express this to people to really drive the point home. The best time to invest is when you know you are ready to invest, you have the money to deploy, you have a plan to invest for the long term. And you do not take that money out until your plan says, this is when I'm taking that money out. So those are my 3 financial meals. Y'all, I'm pretty sure there are plenty more, but those are the main 3 that I hear and have seen. Okay. Now, when it comes to financial financial stages of five stages of, I'm sorry, y'all, my child coming here. It's every time I I know that I'm gonna be teaching, she knows that I'm gonna be teaching, and I say, let's let mommy do it. Then y'all know if you have kids, they don't listen to nothing you say. They just have to come in, they have to be involved and everything. But let's go, let's keep moving. So there are 5 stages of financial resilience. This is just my whole idea, right? Based on what I've been doing, what I've learned over the years. What I see is that wealth evolves through these stages, right? Now, what I want to be clear on too is you're not going to master them all at once, okay? What we focus on is building through each one of them. So I'm going to break down each one of these stages, and I want you to take a mental note or write it down. Which stage are you at today? Okay. And if you feel comfortable, all right, if you feel comfortable, I want you to type it in the chat here on Zoom and also on YouTube. Okay. So there's 5 stages. First stage is stability. Second is security. Third is growth. Fourth is where we're going to expand. And the 5th is lifestyle. So let's get into it. First stage is stability. The purpose of this stage is to keep life running with as little stress as possible, with minimal stress. So what this looks like in this stage is going to include us having a clear cash flow system. We need to know how our money is moving. If you agree with that, I want you to type I agree in the chat. You can give a thumbs up in the chat on Zoom as well. I can see you, okay? And then you can do it on YouTube as well. I can't see you on YouTube, but as a matter of fact, hold on. Let me make sure I can see y'all. I'm gonna pull my phone up so that way I can see your comments. Okay. But yeah, I see you, right? So we want to make sure that we have a clear cash flow system. What does that mean? I know when my money is coming in, I know the frequency in which it's coming in, I know the amount in which it's coming in, but I also know the frequency in which my money is going out. I also know the frequency or the amount that is going out. Okay, that's every month. Plus, I have a general idea of variable expenses. Okay, so these are things that may come out every month, but the amount is not the same. Like more than likely for our electricity bills, sometimes it may be a little higher, a little lower. Water bill, right? A little higher, a little lower by some dollars. For some people, unfortunately, with these data centers, right, their electricity and their water bills have skyrocketed. Okay, but on a consistency, you have a general idea, and then on top of it is our unnecessary expenses, the things that it's not a necessity for us every month. It's not a necessity for us to get to work, right? So transportation, things of that nature is just we're spending money on that. We need to have a clear cash flow system, knowing our money, the ins and outs of our money. The second thing is having our I got it fund. So I know on the screen it says that word. I don't told y'all I'm not saying it. So start building our I got it fund and eventually get to where you at a minimum have 3 months saved in a high yield savings account. Okay, one that's giving you 3% or higher, 3.1% or higher, something like that. And then this way, if something happens that you're not anticipating, let's say you have medical bills because your healthcare does not cover certain things, depending on whatever you're dealing with medically. Well, now if you have a high, what's that, the health savings account or your own I got it fund, boom, you can use that to pay for things that come from you having that medical situation. Okay, you have an issue with your car that was unexpected. All right. Let's say you total your car and now you have to go buy a new car. Okay. Doesn't have to be brand new. I'm just saying get a new car. Well, guess what? You have your I got it fund to help you with covering that. Okay. So a lot of these things that are not anticipated, they're not part of your monthly expenses, variable expenses. They're not part of like you consistently maintaining your vehicle, maintenance on your home, things of that nature. Okay. The third part of being stable in this first stage is eliminating that high interest debt. I know there are some people out here that say, Leona, how in the world can I even do this when I'm barely making ends meet today? I hear you. Okay. I cannot say I understand as an adult because there have been times where I've made things do what it do, but I will say this. I know somebody's not going to like this, but there are going to be times where you're going to have to sacrifice. I understand that it is not fun when you go to work and all you're doing is paying bills. But when you have a plan, okay, and you know you have high interest debt, you know that your credit card is 18, 19, 20, 25%, whatever it may be, right? When you know that this is costing you more, having this credit card balance is costing you more than what you've even bought with the credit card, way more at that. Wouldn't you want to get rid of that so that way you can get back to living your life and enjoying and traveling or doing whatever you wanted to do? Right? I would want that. Now, does it sound great? Does it sound sexy? Does it sound fun? Absolutely not. There are people I have listened to, individuals that have taken 1 year, 2 years where they did not travel at all. They did not go out to eat. They did not go to restaurants, talking about sit down fast food, none of it. They took time and they said, you know what? I am going to really buckle down and sacrifice for the next year, 2 years. So that way, all of this high interest debt is paid off. Plus, I am able to invest X amount of dollars every single month because I'm working this plan. And I'm telling you now, the individuals that have done that, they are living their life. Okay. So is it sexy? No, it's not. But will it help you to be stable and be able to have the lifestyle that you want in the long run? Absolutely. The probability of you living the life that you want because you took the time to sacrifice and stick to your plan, the probability of that happening is much higher and is more likely than when you don't do it and you ignore it and you continue to rack up debt. Okay. Last thing is looking at getting a fixed rate on major loans when you possibly can. When you start to decrease that high interest debt, I will tell you this: the more you decrease that debt and your balances are lower, your credit score starts to creep up. Okay, especially if you don't have any like bankruptcies, collections, late payments, like a whole lot of late payments, things like that. When you don't have those things, you start to see that your credit score continues to creep up. Okay, especially when you keep your credit utilization rate low. So you reduce your interest, high interest debt, you reduce your credit utilization rate, and now you increase your chances of having a low rate, and also it's a fixed rate. All right. So I know stability doesn't make you rich, y'all. Okay. But what it does is make you durable. So when things happen, more than likely you're able to sustain and not have to go back to square one. Okay. Stage two, we're on stage two. Now, again, I want y'all to keep in mind when we're going through these stages, where are you at today? And then where's your next stage? And then start thinking about writing down your plans to move to the next stage starting today. Okay. So the second stage is security. Security. Okay. I see you. I see you. So the purpose of this stage is to protect what you're building. Protect what you're building. What does this look like? We're using insurance to help us to protect what we're building. So when we're saving up and building up our I got it fund, and we're reducing this high interest debt and all of these things, right? Well, we need to make sure that we have life insurance because anything can happen. Okay. Whether that's term, whole life, universal, whatever you decide, get with a licensed professional in the life insurance industry. Okay. Not somebody that's just saying whatever you want to hear, because I tell you right now, there are a good number of them out here that will get over on you. So I know somebody that can help you out. I'm not that person, but I know somebody. And if you want to know, by all means, I give his information and he could just educate you. Whether you go through the insurance company that he is partnered with, that's your business. But he can at least educate you on the different type of insurance policies and what may be the best fit for you. What type of policy may be the best fit for you. So having life insurance, okay? Because anything can happen. Making sure that you have auto insurance. Y'all, I got it. We all know, we all feel it. Insurance policies, each one of them, the prices are ridiculous. Okay. And I know there are people to this day, I feel you, they say, oh, the insurance industry in general is a scam. But here's what I would say. Wouldn't you rather have it, right? When you may feel like you don't need it versus need it and not have it. Because think about it, you total your car and you don't have auto insurance, then what? You get into an accident and you don't have auto insurance, then what? You kick the bucket and you don't have life insurance, then what happens to your family? What happens to your assets or even your debt? Can your family pay your debt? Can your family continue to cover the assets that you have? What happens? When we talk about health insurance, there are, sir, I got it. Not every health insurance plan cover everything. However, okay, it's best to have that health insurance so that way it helps with some of the costs. Okay, this is a way to protect the wealth that we are saying we want to build. Now, when it comes to life insurance and things of that nature, y'all please make sure you're updating your beneficiaries. Okay, I say this every single time. This is why I want to talk about this as often as possible, because when I was in the army, oh my gosh, before we would get deployed, that was a requirement that we update our beneficiaries. Why? Because you don't know what happens. You're going into someone else's country. There's been bombs dropped on you, all kind of stuff. You don't know. You're not God. You don't know if you're going to make it back home to your family or not. So this is why you should update your life insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, battles, okay? When you leave out of your home, you don't know if you're going to make it home to your family. I got it. We want to feel like we know that we're going to make it to tomorrow. I got it. We may feel like we're invincible. I've been here this long. I've been doing da 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 da. Okay, I got it. But you cannot predict what the next person is going to do, how they're feeling, if they've been drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning or not. Okay? So please update your beneficiary every time you get married, get divorced, if you have kids, whatever, update your beneficiaries. That's not just for your life insurance. That includes your bank accounts, that includes your stock brokerage accounts, that includes all of it. Okay? Everything that involves money more than likely gives you the option to update a beneficiary. So if something happens, they don't have to ask, or your family member doesn't have to fight to get access to your funds because their name is on it. Got it? That leads to basic estate structure. So updating your beneficiaries is a big part of that. Ensure that you have a will. If you don't have one yet, start working on it, okay? Doesn't have to be anything elaborate and all of that stuff. Y'all, like, I got it. You may not have a whole lot of stuff, but at least in your will or getting a power of attorney saying, hey, if I become incapacitated for any reason, okay, this is who's going to have access to my funds, all of my accounts. At a bare minimum, do the power of attorney. Next level is a will, okay? And then the next level after that is establishing some type of trust. Okay? And I got it for the person that's saying, Leon, I don't have no money for the trust. I gave you 2 steps prior to that. Okay? I gave you 2 steps prior to that. And guess what you could do? You could just get it notarized. Power of attorney and your will. Get those notarized. What's the excuse? Getting something notarized costs pennies. So what are we talking about? All right. These are just steps that we can take. And then the last part to this stage, which is security, is risk management. We need to be aware of the risks associated with everything we're doing. There are risks associated with getting life insurance because we already know there are some horrible insurance agents out there. They are scamming. They are slick talkers. They're going to get you into some type of insurance policy that may not be the best for you and your family. Okay, we understand that there are some out there, but that does not mean that's all of them. We understand that there are some horrible auto insurance agents out there. I understand, but that's not all of them. Okay. At the end of the day, we need to know what our risks are so that way we can make sure moving forward we are good to go. And not only just us as individuals, but our family members, the people that we love and that we say we want to protect. Okay, so security for us when we are working on building this stage, security ensures that one life event doesn't erase all those years of progress. You've been doing the work for the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I want to make sure that you continue to be able to do that because you have these things in place. Okay. Stage 3. I got it, y'all. If I'm going too fast, please let me know. Remember, again, I'm going to ask that you, if you feel comfortable, type it in the chat. What stage do you feel that you are at? Okay. And then also, as a matter of fact, because we've gone over 2 stages right now, if you feel like you are at stage 1 or stage 2, I want you to type the number 1 or the number 2 in the chat real quick. Zoom and on YouTube. Type the number 1 or the number 2 in the chat if you feel like you are there. And here's what I want to say too, as you all are typing in the chat. Okay. As you're typing in the chat, I don't want you to feel bad if you say I'm at number 1, because here's what I will say. Life happens. You probably started getting some things in place and life happened and now you're back at 1. That's okay. Because now you know next stage is this, next stage is that, da 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 da. Okay? So I see the 2s.
Can you give me something like a
Not right now. Not right now. So yeah, I see the 2s. I see the 2s. Okay, so let's go. Third stage. The little one is begging for attention, so I'm gonna attempt to wrap this up pretty fast. Okay, so third stage is educated growth, y'all. Now, the purpose of this stage is for us to intentionally study to make our money work for us. Okay, so what this includes is us investing in and researching these different asset classes. I put some of these on here as examples. I am not telling you to invest in anything because legally I cannot do that. Okay. But what I can do is say, hey, these are some of the things that I have looked into. These are some of the things that I personally invest in, and this is why I do it. Okay. So index funds like the SPY, BOOVTI, these things I was told about years ago. And I found that, okay, yeah, the price is a bit higher, but guess what? You can also, if the price is a bit too high for you here with these index funds, then you can also go to your ETFs. Okay. So we have the SPYG. That's the S&P Growth ETF, okay? Same difference as a SPY, price is a little bit lower. You have QQQ, IBV, and so many other ETFs, okay? And there's also crypto ETFs out there for my people who want exposure to cryptocurrency, but are not ready to hold cryptocurrency in general, okay? We have our stocks out here that you can research. Treasury instruments like treasury bills, notes, bonds, real estate, okay? REITs are also part of that. And of course, our cryptocurrency. Now, the reason why I'm just glossing over this is because I'm not going to go do a deep dive into this because these are just assets and asset classes that you can go research. Just like you can go research gold, silver, copper, and see where you can purchase them from a legit metals dealer, okay? But at the end of the day, when we talk about this stage, when we are getting ourselves educated, it's going to reduce those emotional money making decisions, okay? We are not going to be buying or selling based on emotion. We're going to buy and or sell based on the knowledge that we have. Yes, ma'am. You're not wait till I start. Stage four. Stage four. Sorry about that, y'all. Stage four is where we expand. Okay. This is where we are increasing our income and our money making skills. We are being intentional about earning more. We are looking to increase our income, our earning power. I put on here, increase it by 20%, but listen, if it's 10%, whatever, an extra $1,000 a month will probably go a long way for some people. Okay, an extra $500 may go a long way for some people. All right, so at the end of the day, we just want to focus on earning more, becoming a bit more skilled, having AI resistant skills, whatever those may look like. I will say this: when we talk about human interaction, that's something that AI cannot compete with. Okay. AI can't compete with the human interaction. AI can't compete with personal experience. Okay. AI pretty much gives us information based off of everybody else and what they're putting into the system, but AI doesn't have the emotional connection that we have. Okay. So, what are some skills that you can develop that require human interaction? Okay. Building that side hustle, going into consulting, coaching, assisting, being a virtual assistant, content creation, whatever it is. At the end of the day, y'all, our wealth grows fastest through income leverage. Okay. So the better we get, the more skilled we become, the more likely we're going to make more money. And instead of having one source of income, we can have 2, 3, 4, 5. And not only us, we can pass that on to what? The next generation. We can teach them these particular skills if that's something they're interested in, okay? So that's the fourth stage. The fifth and final stage is lifestyle. So the purpose of this particular stage is for us to enjoy the journey. I understand, like I said earlier, that not everything that I shared prior to this stage is exciting and sexy and whatnot. However, in order for us to get to this point where we're having fun, we're traveling, we're giving freely, we just have freedom to choose what we want to do with our life. Okay? Today, I chose to come on here on Zoom and to stream this on YouTube. I chose to do this because I listen to the headlines and I listen to other people and I see that people need this type of information. That was a choice. I could have just chose to hang with my daughter all day today instead of having her go run off and pout because she doesn't like to share her mom with anyone else, even if it's virtual battle buddies. Okay? Even if it is virtual battle, she doesn't like to share me. I understand. But this was a choice for me because I wanted to make sure that people are getting the information that is not typically talked about as often as it should be. So when we talk about lifestyle, y'all, this particular stage isn't last because it's unimportant. No, it's last because it's sustainable at that point. Because now you're secure, right? You're stable, you're secure. You're studying your different asset classes. You're formulating a plan. And now you're learning new skills in stage 4. You're learning new skills and you're creating and generating more income outside of your primary income. Now you can get to this point, okay? So here's what I want to do. I want to give you a non-negotiable or two. All right. Before investing in, let's say, real estate, you need to learn the market cycles. I would say you need to learn the market cycles for all of them, but you need to learn the market cycles. For stocks, definitely learn valuation basis at a bare minimum. Crypto, you have to know what blockchain is and understand custody. Okay. When we talk about private and public keys and things of that nature, I have something for y'all if you need to understand a bit more about cryptocurrency as a beginner. I have a workshop for y'all. You can check that out at another time, okay? All right. We actually just had the workshop this past Saturday and it was great. I had fun. We had fun. Information was passed on. People learned, and said, okay, now I know what I'm doing moving forward, right? So learning the different basics and things of that nature pertaining to crypto businesses. If you want to become an entrepreneur or just have a side hustle for now, you need to understand the cash flow, okay? Because and now I will say this, and I say this every time, but I am a firm believer that financial literacy is a systemic failure. It is. The people in Congress know that we need more and better financial education at younger ages. We know that. However, this is a choice for them to not provide it nationwide. It's not a requirement nationwide, like from 6th grade on up to learn different things pertaining to financial literacy. What I will say though is I understand. Okay, I feel Leona's opinion is systemic failure. However, when we stay uneducated, when we do not research the stuff like what Leona shared tonight and other people share on these different platforms, okay? When we choose not to research those things, that is that word, choice. This is a choice now. You're choosing to stay uneducated. And I would love to believe that that is not something you want to do. I am choosing to believe that you want to become educated and become more financially literate so that way you can maneuver successfully when we have volatile times like this in our economy. Okay? So before you invest in cryptocurrency, for my people who are interested, majority of you tune in because I talk about cryptocurrency. before you invest in crypto right now, we already know regulatory clarity is still evolving. Of course, with the Clarity Act policy, structure is not fully finalized. So what that means for us, okay, is once we have those things, institutional access is going to continue to grow. We're going to see more billionaires and the newest trillionaire, okay, we're going to continue to see them putting their hands in the pot called crypto, okay? And also reporting requirements may expand, they may change a bit compared to what it was 5, 6, 10 years ago, okay? For my people who are considering investing in cryptocurrency, it should be an asset you understand, period. Please, y'all, stop coming over here gambling and then getting upset when the crypto market punches you in the face or the throat, whichever one hurts you the most. Okay? Like, seriously, let's understand what we're putting our dollars behind or our money behind. And it also should be a reasonable portion of your portfolio, especially given that it is a high risk investment. Again, this is not financial advice. This is a suggestion. If you decide you're going to invest in cryptocurrency or want to, you should understand this asset class and it should be a reasonable portion. Leona, what is a reasonable portion? I would say for a person just starting out, 5% or less. Okay, 5% or less. Now, as you learn more, you do more. If you believe in it more, then and the market is a bit more tech friendly, okay, and risk on, then all right, dive on into it a bit more if that's what you want to do and your budget can allow it. All right. So I just want you to think about why you're investing or considering investing in this particular market. Because if you're focusing on understanding technology, that's great. But if you're that person that's saying, oh, I heard it's gonna 10x and this is the next big cryptocurrency and it's gonna do da 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 da, I would tell you, I would suggest that you hold fast. I would suggest that you pump your brakes. I would suggest that you push pause. Got it? Good. Okay. So if you have gained a little bit of clarity, you have a better understanding of where you are in as far as the 5 stages of financial resilience. If you believe that you're at stage 2, stage 3, or even at stage 1, okay, if you are not at stage 5 living your life, then number one, you probably tuned in because you thought that I was going to be talking in depth about cryptocurrency. Sorry to disappoint you. Okay. And that's my people on YouTube. On Zoom, y'all know why you're here. Okay. On Zoom, you know why you're here. But more than likely, if you're here on Zoom, you're either at 1, 2, or 3. Okay. Maybe 4, but for what I've seen so far, I'm gonna do it one more time. For those of you that did not type in the chat, if you feel comfortable, type which stage you believe you're at, because I saw a bunch of 2s earlier. Okay, not a bunch, but I saw 2s earlier, mainly 2s earlier. So go ahead, I'm gonna give y'all some time to type it in the chat, and then I'm gonna look as you all type. I'm gonna go over this. So for my people who are a 4 or lower, okay, definitely 1, 2, or 3 in that state in those stages. I want you to consider, okay, join the 90-day financial reset challenge, because this challenge is going to be a guided system that's going to help you to take control of your cash flow. We have a whole cash flow spreadsheet where you can update all of your information. The formulas are all in there, so it calculates everything for you. Within this system, is going to help you eliminate high interest debt faster, because we break down the different debt reduction plans or debt reduction options for you to choose from according to what you want to do and the type of debt that you have. It's going to help you to build or establish your own I Got It fund, that system. Okay. So that way you can make the plan today and then start executing as well. So by the end of this year, you should say, okay, I started here in July and this is where I am and this is where I want to be by December 2026. You'll be able to develop disciplined investing habits as well as create a repeatable money system. So you get 90 days of structure, accountability, and as long as you are an excellent doer, you get to see progress. Okay, so you can scan that QR code, or at the bottom for y'all on Zoom here, you can actually just type this in. I will add, as a matter of fact, let me add this into the chat so that way you have it. Okay, so if you know that this is something that you want to do, you can go ahead and put that in there. There we go. Bam. All right. So yeah, so that's it. You all have that. I want to see y'all. I want to see y'all do this. I want to see, some of the responses to it as well. Most definitely, I want to see some of the responses to it to hear how everybody has progressed. So inside this 90-day, excuse me, Financial Reset Challenge, you're going to receive the financial field manual that I created. I told y'all I'm Army veteran now, okay? So some of the terms is more military related. So if you are ex-military, whichever branch you are, you're going to be like, aha. That sounds familiar to me, all right? But you're going to get a step-by-step guide to navigating today's economy. There's a structured roadmap in there for you to help you rebuild your financial stability. So if you're that person that said, I ended up bouncing back down to stage one or two, this is definitely for you. You get that cash flow and budget system, that spreadsheet that I talked about. Okay. There's debt reduction strategy in there. We talk about those different strategies. Your I Got It Fund Builder. We help you with creating a plan so that way you can eventually have that financial breathing room. And there is investment readiness training in there to help you prepare to invest in the stock and cryptocurrency markets responsibly. Okay. And also there are accountability and progress checkpoints within each one of those phases. So I want you to think about where you could be in the next 90 days. Okay. We're in July. So by October, all right, where could you be? Think about the type of debt you have right now, the balances you're at right now. Watching that just consistently go down. Okay. It doesn't matter the amount. The point is it's consistently decreasing every single month versus staying stagnant, and you're adding more interest on, right? You have your I Got It fund growing. You have a clear investing plan that you are working. And now, because you are doing those things, your credit score is increasing, your debt going down, more money is being saved and invested. Your confidence is going to start going up and skyrocket, and now you make better financial decisions. I want to see you. I want to hear from you saying, Leona, I did it. I made it. I hit my goals by December of 2026. So our mindset shift for 2026 looks like this, okay? When we are experiencing a volatile era like we are today, we now have our reserves. We have our buffer. We have our I Got It fund. We have cash on hand, cash invested. We have a strategic investing plan. We are consistently growing our income. Okay. We are making sure that we are going from one source of income to two, to three, to four, so on and so forth. We have plans in place to go from one source of income to two to three. And we are getting educated on every single asset class that we are deploying our money into. Okay. I have seen this, I have read this, I have heard this about this being a very large wealth transfer from boomers to the next generations, like millennials like myself. Okay. We're talking trillions of dollars are going to be transferred from one generation to the next. The question is, are you patient enough and disciplined enough to be able to take and receive that wealth and multiply it for the next generation? Okay, that's the question. That's the question that I want you to ask yourself. So your next steps in this year, okay? If this is the only time you tune in to the Wealth Evolution webinar, your next steps for 2026 is to ask yourself these questions, okay? I want you to think about it. If you didn't type it in the chat, I saw a couple of twos again and I saw 1, 3. Okay, so if you are in stage 2, 3, or even for my people who may be in ones and don't want to say it, it's okay. All right, write that down. Put today's date. This is the stage that I am at today. Okay, and then I want you to think about what is that one action you can take in the next 30 days to help move you forward to the next stage. Okay, that's the next question. The next question is, what asset class do I need to better understand? Okay, what asset class do I need to better understand? Another question is, where have I been reacting instead of strategizing? Okay, and also think about if you need help out with any of the things above, go get that help, whether it's free or paid for. Go get that help. Okay, because think about it right now, you as an individual, you on Zoom, you on YouTube, you control how your financial future turns out. So I want to be one of those people with you, making it a beautiful and satisfying outcome for the remainder of 2026. Okay. So quick Q&A. Type your questions in the chat. Okay. Type your questions in the chat. I'm gonna give y'all some time, but what I am going to do is answer the most common questions I get when I talk about these things. The most common questions that I get, I'll answer those. And then if you all have any questions, you can type it in the chat here on Zoom, and then I can see you guys on YouTube. Okay. So one of the questions I have gotten recently, actually, when I mentioned the 90-day financial reset, one question is, okay, well, Leona, how much does it cost? It's only $39. Okay, that's it. That's all, y'all. That is a trip to whatever your favorite fast food restaurant is for you and 2 other people. Okay, depending on the state you in, though. Here in Louisiana, that's a trip. Okay, to your favorite fast food restaurant. All right. So it's $39. The other question that I did get about the financial reset was was the accountability piece. So, like, what does the accountability part look like? So, when it comes to the 90-day financial reset, one part of it is you do get information, like there's a checkpoint, and you get asked questions like, what did you learn about yourself over the past 30 days? Or, do you feel more confident? Things like that. It's simple stuff like that. And if you have seen progress, then you move on to the next phase. If you did not see progress, then you go back. Okay. So that's pretty much how it works. There is an option for you to do a call with me. Okay. There is an option for you to do that. But once you pay for it, that's when you are being able to schedule that. Okay. But you have to pay for it first, which is $39. And then you can actually get that option if you want to. All right. So that's that part. And then there's another question that I get, and that is, what makes your 90-day financial reset challenge, better than just someone going and looking on YouTube. I will tell you this, at the end of the day, you can choose to do what I'm doing or not. I created this based on what I had to do in order for me to get out of over $40,000 of personal debt. That's not marital debt. That's debt that Leona accumulated by herself as an individual, for personal and business. Over $40,000 of debt I had to pay off. From the year 2022 is when I was able to start paying it off, okay, to the end of 2024 going into 2025. Okay? We're talking about $40,000 plus dollars. So, because I did all of these things to work on improving my credit, because You don't know what you don't know going into business. And that's another reason why I put business on there as well, because I had to learn a lot about business myself because I didn't know, right? I trial and error. So this 90-day financial reset was actually created based on all the steps that I personally took, okay, to remove that 40 plus $1,000 of debt. So yeah, so those are the questions that I typically get. I didn't see any in here. So if you all don't have any other questions, that is it. I want to see you guys. Go ahead for you on YouTube if you're watching on the TV. Scan that QR code, join the 90-day financial reset challenge today. Okay, you'll get your financial field manual, your 90-day financial reset framework, your debt and cash flow strategy, investment readiness, education, all kind of stuff. Plus accountability, accountability, accountability. All right. For y'all on Zoom, you see the link in the chat. Go ahead and click on that link. Okay. So with that being said, I want to congratulate you for staying this entire time. See, we hit just at an hour. Okay. I want to congratulate you all for staying this entire time. If you have any other questions, you can always go to my website, or you can go to Leona Clark at prosperitycalls.com, send an email, and then I will be sure to get back to you and answer your questions. Okay. So thank you all so very much for jumping on. Hopefully you were able to eat and listen, take notes, execute, get ready to execute, and I will see you all during the 90-day financial challenge. That's it. That's all. Y'all have a good one. Bye, y'all.
Mom.